Welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to Bridges Live, and you're live here on all your podcast channels, iHeart, Apple, Spreaker, wherever you get all your podcast tunes. You can always contact me at drpaulwdyer@gmail.com. Today's Mental Health Monday, as most of you do know, but we're going to talk more about happiness, I think. We have an extraordinary woman that's just been moving, and being this political climate, I reached out to her to say, hey, could you come on my show? Please, please, please. You know me and all my begging and all my getting people on the show. That's what I do. But I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Because I've always said it, I sound like I'm a baseball announcer entering the lineup, and I just don't like that. And here is, I don't have the Johnny Carson thing, but welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this, Dr. Dyer. I am Mayor Cashenna Cross from the city of Glen Arden. So who am I? I am a mayor that's born from a small town in Aberdeen, Mississippi, by way of the United States Air Force. You meet me here in the city of Glen Arden.
Okay, hold on. As most of you people who listen to my show, do you know I'm Army, so I'm going to have to give her a lot of shit being a chair force. So that's just something we do as military people. We give each other ribbing, but thank you for your service.
Thank you, and I appreciate your service, sir. I will say that in my time of 20 years serving active duty with the Air Force, the Army was one of my favorite colleagues to work with. So,
yeah, we can't trust those Marines and those Navy people. They got touching issues.
Oh well, they're in a different environment, that's for sure. No, I did. I had quite a bit of time with the Army in Iraq, where I served there with the EOD team.
Nice.
So the Army there always was a good family to me, always took care of us, and made sure that we arrived to our destination. 56 convoys outside the wire, always depended on my Army brethren. The Air Force always gave us our one little gun. Always counted on the Army, to actually have the weaponry of choice.
Well, you seem officer material.
I am.
See, us working class people, we can always tell the officers who we gotta tip our hat to. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So get in from just straight in from a small town to the service, and if most of you people who don't watch the live feed or watch the video, she's a black female. And as a black female in the Air Force, as an officer, that took some time. And it gave you your rough patches, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, of course. Rough patches grow character. I believe what Dr. King says, that the substance of your entire being is based on your ability to withstand those trials and tribulations that have come to you. So I always say I don't run from my mountains, but I do thank God for the strength to climb most of them.
So did that put you right in line with going to where you are now as a mayor, or was there things in between that kind of put these steps in?
Well, I am a political scientist trained from Mississippi State University, international relations specialist out of St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Texas. So a culmination of my international relations duties with the military, traveling with Tops in Blue, also Worldwide Entertainment, gave me a zest for people. So with that, being able to interface with different people, being able to allow you to be you and me to be me, and we all come together and work to build something magnificent, I would say the military was a great part of helping me grow into that community connectiveness. So being a part of the community has always been a dream. If you've been in the military, you roam around every 2 to 3 years. So you really don't lay down those solid roots, but you have family all over the world. So coming here where I was able to retire out of Defense Intelligence Agency did give me the opportunity for the first time to actually lay down roots and, as I say, borrow sugar. So it has been quite the journey. The Air Force did give me that interface to meet new people. And I will say, from the days of being a Girl Scout in rural Mississippi, make new friends, keep the old, one silver and the other's gold. You build yourself into that community like-mindedness. And once you have a path or a trajectory like in a municipality, then everybody's working to pull the same cart. And that is teamwork, right? And that's what the military teaches you: service, excellence, and integrity. And above all, teamwork. No one does it alone.
I let me be the first to say it. If no one's ever told you, I've been doing political junkets for a little bit, and most people know I was on Ralph Nader's presidential team, and I've helped people just get into office. Take nothing away from the mayor and Glenn Arden, but we need to move you to the next level. You are incredible. I mean, here's the thing, people. When you see a person who has service in their eyes, and this starts out from being a Girl Scout in rural Mississippi and walking those roads and saying, I'm going to. I mean, I don't know what year you started as a Girl Scout, but that had to take some doing just to say, I want to do this. And from that to this, you can't stop here at Mayor, at Glenn Arden. I mean, I want to hear the next campaign.
Well, one day at a time, sir. This is a 4-year tour.
You heard it here. That was such a political answer. Good for you.
One day at a time. One of my goals in life is to be a community resource. I would always call myself the Air Force's Band-Aid. I swear, every time the Air Force wanted to evolve its mission, they threw my nickname as Cash. They threw cash at it. So, I found myself in an opportunity here to support local grassroots organizations that want to put good on the ground. And as a mayor, I've opened up a door to community resources. And also, as the Prince George's County Hope and Action Task Force Community Assessments Chairman, one of my charges in life is to combine those community resources with community organizations that can help people get what's needed in their life to resolve those problems, commence activities and engagements that build community beyond just my borders. Because in the city of Glen Arden, we are just 1.22 miles, but those 1.22 beautiful miles connects 3 major cities. Mm-hmm. So if you look at Annapolis to DC, I mean, even to Aberdeen Proving Ground, all the way as far as even Pennsylvania, you have a lot of traffic that moves through the city of Glen Arden by way of 495 and also 704. So we are a major hub, in my opinion, connector in Prince George's County. And because of that, I always say we own the flagship shopping center with the Wegmans and the Costco. So with that, we have an opportunity to interface with the DMV. So it's bigger than just us and our 1.22 miles. So we have to, as a municipality, gain and maintain that community spirit.
One of my passion is to help kids get outdoors, get experiences, and we started a camp with the Patuxent Riverkeeper in the Upper Marlboro. So I know we have our 3rd session coming up on the 22nd of August. It's pretty quick. But if you have any kids I'll send you the link offline. If you have any kids that you believe that's able to get there, and that's probably the biggest issue is transportation. But if there's something that we can establish in Glen Arden with kids with the Parks Department, with just getting kids to experience new things, right? I would love to help that. So there's always seemed to be what's next, but there's got to be things that are right now. So what's going on right now that needs to be addressed, or that you are addressing here in Glen Arden, or just in the general vicinity yourself? Like you said, it extends more past your borders.
So global health and wellness is a big issue for me. It has been since the start of 2022. And the amount of suicides that we had in Prince George's County and even, across the nation is nothing that we should take, a blind eye to. I mean, we really have to take notice that we are coming off of 3 years of isolation. And in COVID, it has left us really mentally challenged in a lot of ways. Communities have lost family members, that were the staple in their family. If you lose a parent, that's a staple in a family. If you lose a child, then you can see that there again is your heritage, your legacy. So we are addressing mental health and wellness on a grand scheme. And I have been launching programs since the start of this year that, started with the Martin Luther King Peace Gathering, as we had a brush of youth that were, stealing vehicles and going joyriding with them. Gun violence was taking an uptick. And so we created this peace gathering, which involved 5 of our community cities across this district in a peaceful mediation. We actually pulled resolutions that address conflict. We actually did partner with several foundations like the Solid Foundation under Latasha Ward, 4 other municipalities, convoyed 78 vehicles across. I mean, it was like back in the days of Martin Luther King, we all bonded together to say no more to this violence, no more to taking a blind eye to the youth disenfranchisement. And in that has led, like I said, a countywide push to not only address our rehabilitation of our citizens that are returning from prison, but also with the state's attorney's office to prevent that recidivism that continues to happen in our communities. And that starts with entrepreneurship opportunities, and that starts with transitional youth opportunities. So I have taken a stance to partner with our local unions to provide apprenticeship opportunities to youth that have decided college isn't for them. And I would say that that is an option. When I grew up, many parents wanted children to go to doctor school, lawyer school, and all of these great professions that cost lots of money. And the gains for it in the end is, an investment of time. Well, in this day and age with the youth in our current state, there is an opportunity for youth who have decided college isn't going to be their path to actually still make a decent living. And when I say apprenticeship jobs, they can pay you anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 if you're an entrepreneur, say HVAC or electrician or water sanitation. Never negate the utilization of those fields, particularly in a community like Glenarden, small community.
And we don't nationally, in Maryland, we don't have enough tradesmen. We know that. We know that as adults, and we try to push, we have to push that to be filled, because if not, then things don't get billed, things fall lackluster, people are waiting on things. If you don't have enough electricians, you don't have enough pipes people, you don't have enough sheetrockers, then we're worried about how can we get these kids. Well, there's jobs here. We just got to get them trained. And you mentioned something so close to home to me, and that's suicide, right? Now, as a person, I would say I'm always healing through post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm a neuroscience guy. That's why I got into neuroscience and the brain health and mental health. It's because I, too, almost took my life. And that was when coming out of 2001, and it was when everyone was looking at the military or those soldiers who attacked New York and our United States, I really took that personally because I was a special operator. So, and I know what other countries have called us, because they call us terrorists. So just because they were using the word terrorist, I was like, well, if you knew what I did, wow, So children's suicide is at an all-time high in the United States. We know that. we have a hard time stopping it, even though we ask them to sign things and we watch out for things. How are you promoting mental health if we got to watch out for each other as a community? There are signs that are always there saying, hey, this person needs help. What is some of those languages you use to help trigger those signs so you can say, call someone, get some help?
Suicidal behavior in children is pretty complicated. And it's complicated because they don't always express their feelings like adults. The confusion, the sadness, the anger. A lot of what we will see is in their drawings and in their interaction with others. Adults particularly, you can identify if there's, trouble at home in that arena, if they're having, trouble interfering or interfacing with adults. So, I'm not a clinical psychiatrist, but one of the things I have done is studied suicidal intentions amongst elementary school age children. And the truth is I have two young ones myself, ages 13 and 10. So we do have an ability to make sure that, all of us are aware of those signs, particularly bullying, particularly children who are experiencing relationship issues with the families and friends. So in adolescence, it's really hard to tell, but really changes in behavior, changes in eating habits, changing in sleeping habits. If they're always sleepy, always tired, if they're withdrawing from certain family members, headaches, stomach aches, all these types of things are pains that you normally wouldn't have unless you have a child, that's malnutrition, but a lack of interest in things. Children are a wonder.
Right.
The world is a wonder. And if they lose interest in the normal daily activities like playing sports, extracurricular activities, let's just say it, Xbox, PS5, then that is a natural order of thinking what's going on, because children should not be burdened with tragic events. And for me, and I can always tell when something's troubling my own, when they have that feeling and they start to withdraw from those things that I know they love. And that requires adults to be present. And that's one of the things that we've done in our community is to create engagements. I don't call them activities or events. I call them engagements, because that's what we're doing. We're engaging the various elements of our community, and that includes our youth. I've partnered with our local elementary schools, to make sure that we as a community are answering the call for them as well, because the students going to the elementary schools are coming out of the community. So they're going to tell us if we're having gang violence or if we're having racial issues even in our community, and really where. Just by the child's behavior in school, we can start to triangulate that there may be a bubbling situation in the community. The gang violence, while we don't have a lot of it, but what we have seen is a change in the demeanor of the population that is currently on the ground. Glenarden was a preponderantly African-American city.
Right.
So, when it became a city, the third most affluent incorporated city in the state of Maryland, it was preponderantly Black. We have changed since with the latest census, to really almost cut that in half. So we are growing as a community to be more diverse. And with that requires us to be more inclusive. And that inclusivity is going to help us recognize those many problems.
I'm not going to keep Mayor Cash all too long because there's things that she's got to get going. But there's a couple things. You mentioned violence. Now, knowing that in Maryland, most people talk about the Baltimore and things going on. But you don't have to be so specific about if there's an increase in violence, what is some of your ways that you would handle it other than things that are not being done? Because I'm not going to get on beating other counties and that they're not doing, but what is it that you are doing to say keep abreast on it or keep on top of it?
So we have a a wonderful police force. Chief Regis Bryan is my chief of Glenarden Police Department. And he comes with a wealth of experience from being an investigator to being a police trainer, actually, with the University of Maryland. So I utilize my resources, those that are trained and experts in violent crimes and reducing them. I'm happy to report that for the third year, Glenarden is the third safest city in the state of Maryland. And that is in accordance to the FBI's ratings. Now, one of the things that I will say is we are not exonerated from shootings or random crimes, okay? Be vigilant. As a community, be vigilant. Vigilance is your greatest defense. See something, say something. Right. Those are the things that we've learned as a child. See something, say something. The police are civic leaders, but we as a community are partners in that. And National Night Out is going to happen tomorrow across the state of Maryland. National Night Out is where the community's policing forces come together and build this unity of community. That's what it's about. Mm-hmm. You want to understand what's happening on the ground. Your greatest defense, I always say, is your senior citizens. They know everything that's changed and everything that's not presently put right. And they will tell you they're notorious for watching and being vigilant. And so we can take a lesson from that.
That's that community policing people have talked about.
Yes, sir, it is. And there's an incredible pressure, if you will, for communities of color, particularly, to combat community gun violence, and to concentrate on those areas. We are working with the state's attorney's office, who has actually a really good program for the gun exchange. So exchanging guns for funds. So pretty similar to what we did, as you Special Forces, we did this throughout the Middle East.
That's right.
To try and get those caches off the ground.
Right.
It's no different here in America. Some of those same tactics we learned in the military do work in communities here as well. What I have found is gun violence is more so about protection. Yeah. We have gone away from the physical fight to one that is very finite.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, my mother always say, church heals everything, but we have also gone a little bit away from that, mantra as well, where, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
So we have, as a fact, in our cities, we are growing a discovery with Prince George's Hope in Action Task Force. The Hope Collective is a collective of grassroots organizations who do exactly that. Look at the ground truth and try to be present in those moments to get out front of that. And then we have those violence interrupters, and they are persons who are partnering with the county and the municipalities, cities like myself, to actually get out front of those violent crimes. They are on the ground. They are covert. They know where those actions are bubbling up, to help our police forces, to help our community activists get out front and put community needed resources
together.
Sometimes violent crimes are resource, resource, right. They're based on a lack of resources. Mm-hmm. So we can identify what those lack of resources are. Then we can prevent the alienation of our societies and build more inclusive communities. So I'm very fortunate, like I said, in this community to have a great police force that is always on the job, community resources like our senior citizens that ain't gonna let nothing happen in Glenarden because we have something we stand for here, excellence, and we are a community on the move, and we're going to continue to move the mission forward. That's my motto as mayor. We are moving the mission forward. And I was asked by the current comptroller, Peter Francho, what does that really mean? Well, if you consider a mission, right. A mission is anything that has a order about it.
Gee, that's that military coming out of you there.
Anything that has an order about it. We are being proactive, and we are moving with some impact that's going to change people's lives for the better. You shouldn't be the same when I leave this office. So where you've met me, you're going to grow.
Mayor, I tell you, Glenn Arden has cashed in, and no pun intended. They are lucky to have you, and I'm glad to have you on this show. I would like to have you on more again. And if anyone needs anything from you, how can you reach you?
Well, you can reach me by Cross, CCROSS, at cityofglenarden.org. You can also reach my executive assistant, Jordan McLong, at JMCCLUNG at cityofglenarden.org. You can reach us there anytime by email is the best way. You can also call and reach out to us through the city website. So cityofglenarden.org has all of our resources and all of our contact information if you forget. cityofglenarden.org.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I thank you so much. I love having, and thank everyone for listening to Bridges Live hosted with Dr. Paul Dyer. We will be back again. Always, we have Mental Health Mondays next Monday. We have You Be the Judge, and we have all this talent that we do throughout the week. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, just please contact me, and I will reach out to Mayor Cash, and you can link you guys up. Thank you so much, and it was a blessing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's my honor.
Have a good night.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Recording.